like look left, look right, they're your friends, but once you're out for like college applications or anything in life, they're competition. They're not your friends.
Mm.
Which was like, oh, like, really? Like,
I could see. I don't like the way that's put.
yeah,
Like, and I will say, and we can talk about this too, is like in America, unfortunately, they want us to compete against each other. Like it's like instead of like working collectively. All right, welcome back to another podcast episode of We're Still Dreaming, a Teacher J Dreaming podcast. Today, I'm so excited to have another one of my founding original students, now adults, on the pod as we are here to reflect, to reminisce, dream, and to imagine. Today, I have Francisco Guzman, and Francisco is a recent graduate of the University of Illinois, is a scholar, entrepreneur, and a person that continues to dream of making an impact in the world. With business development and social justice movements, he was born in Chicago, but raised in Mexico for a couple of years. And he is also a person that loves to travel around the world, learn about new cultures and different cuisines. To me, Francisco has always been a hard worker, socialite, willing to try new things and take risks. He would also stay after school to work on homework assignments, applications, and all of the things. Watching him grow into high school, college, and now young adult, Francisco has been taking trips around the world and seeing the world from his perspective. His character has evolved over time as someone who now cares and works for social justice issues, learning about the different cultures and broadening his worldview. I'm so proud of his journey, and please welcome to the pod, Francisco. Yay, Francisco, welcome to the pod. Before we go ahead and start talking about your stories and experience, how is everything going? How are you mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of the things?
oh, thank you. And hi, everybody. And well, I am doing great. Actually back from home, visited family, had a great time over there, tried different foods down there as well.
Yeah.
Um, I actually ate a lot, gained little bit of weight, but
That's okay. I gain weight all the time.
okay. I mean, pretty good food. I'm not gonna say no to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I've been good. How you been?
I'm doing okay. I thank you for asking. I usually don't talk about myself. I think it's been hard. The world is like a little bit crazy right now. I mean, it's been crazy for a long time, but we're just trying to make it out there, survive, thrive, and do all of the things. I have been watching you travel around the world. I did mention in many episodes that you have been traveling the world, you and your classmates, Europe, Japan, I've seen Ireland, I've seen Brazil, Mexico. So like you are all traveling. I am jealous. And I actually need to work on getting my passport. But it's been good. I think it's been good. And I'm really glad that we're gonna have this conversation today and hear a little bit of your story. I'm really excited to share your story because your story is one that is memorable to me because of the experiences that we had. I've also had you from fifth grade to eighth grade. You were in my homeroom in fifth grade, sixth grade, not seventh grade, but I still taught you ELA. And eighth grade, I wasn't your homeroom teacher, still taught you ELA. So the first part, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about your past, and like with everybody else. We're gonna start with first impressions. So for you, like when we first encountered each other in fifth grade, what do you remember your first impressions are about the school, about me, about like your classmates? So what are those first impressions that you had?
Yeah, well, so it was fifth grade, I remember. It was pretty pretty humid and warm.
Yep. Everybody loves talking about how hot it was because it was
Yeah,
oh,
uh
yeah, it was hot. It was definitely hot.
yeah, it was a pretty warm day, humid. I was never actually used to it. I think it was like my second year here in the US.
Mm,
Um and it was actually like also, I guess it was kind of my first year of like school, I guess, in America in a sense, just
yeah.
because before. going to BP, I was actually, I think I came in towards the end of third grade.
Okay. Yep.
So I was just transitioned fully to fourth grade. And essentially, since I didn't know the language, they just gave me A's on all the
Mm,
courses.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, we can, I guess, pass you.
Right.
Uh, but my first impression was it was warm. I was anxious, extremely nervous, just because I didn't really understand like when people talk to me. So I was
Hmm.
just a little confused, but at the same time excited, because I was meeting new people. I was also gonna be making new friends, just because it was like a transitioning move. I had like settled down a little bit for that 1 year, made
Right.
like a couple friends, and then boom, I had to do it again.
Yeah. Moved
It's
to
like,
another school.
yeah, so it was just like, oh, new people, I guess. And I guess that made me feel like welcome, but at the same time, it was like, oh, like I'm kind of scared now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Did you come to the open house?
I did not. I actually, it was quite a funny story. I was actually not even selected. I think they were doing lottery at that time.
Oh,
And I wasn't
okay.
even on I didn't even get picked.
Oh,
It's just that
wow.
my mom called the principal, I think, and then she made an exception and then placed me on the roster to
Okay,
get
okay.
to the school.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean that was crazy. Like I know that there was definitely a long roster for fifth grade. I remember that there was a lot of people in that roster, and I think maybe you might have been at the end of the roster where like people were like not withdrawing from their spot and then you like got their spot. So that makes sense. Like you didn't come to the open house because you weren't picked yet. But then you did come on the first day, right? I have a picture of you were there for the balloon ceremony.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
there for the opening scene when they had the stage. They gave a speech, and I think they were actually playing music too.
Yep, there was a mariachi band. There was definitely a mariachi band. There's a picture of you like playing with the balloons. Like I have a picture of like a lot of you. I don't know where it is, but I can see it in my head. A lot of you were sitting on the rows, and then you were playing with the balloons that were hanging behind. It was like purple and yellow balloons. But that's interesting to hear that you weren't in the original roster at first. And all I know is that names kept switching back and forth because people would withdraw and other people would come back in. And so like I didn't really have a set roster in the beginning because we don't know when the people are coming in. What were your other thoughts about like the first day of school or any thoughts about me in the beginning when you first started or your classmates? What are some other impressions you had?
Oh, my first impressions were, well, once I was happy, nervous,
Mhm.
obviously. Uh, from you, I guess my perspective, like before I even like went to school, when I first read your last name, I was just like, oh, I hope he speaks Spanish because it was like a
I'm
Spanish
dead.
name. And then once I got there, I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I
that's so
don't think.
typical. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, I don't think he speaks Spanish. But then I guess I got to know you like the first day of class. Like I remember I told you like, oh, I don't speak
Yep.
English.
Yep. Your mom
And
told me too. I remember.
oh,
Yes.
thank God for my mom for that
Yeah.
because I
She
think
came up to me and told me. I remember. Yeah.
because I did struggle. I think I was nervous to even tell you like, oh yeah, like I don't speak, like I don't understand you. But then you started helping me. I think it was first day, I think you started writing like sticky notes,
Mm-hmm.
actually like start learning.
Yep.
And then over like the time frame of like the months like going through, you were also like giving me flashcards, reading books with me. So you were helping me like to learn the language. So I was just
Yeah.
happy and grateful for that. Like, oh, like you're actually like helping me like learn and understand and get adjusted to the system essentially.
Yeah. So I have a story about why I started doing the flashcards. So we've talked about this before. I remember putting sticky notes on my body too to like talk about like uniform, like the tie, the shirt, and all that stuff. And I did it. I tried to put it on all the walls too. But I actually have a story about why I started doing that with you specifically. And there were so many of you, like Ileana talked about it too, because Ileana didn't know much English in the beginning as well. And so it was also hard for her. But I remember, I don't know if you remember this, you were sitting in rows of fours, and I was teaching you all how to transition from the desk to the door, and you were at
Mhm.
the edge of the line. And so when we were lining up, my directions were in English. And
Yeah.
so when people were transitioning to the door, I saw this like nervous look on your face because I gave directions, and I know it was like the first 2 or 3 days I saw like this, like you were scared to like make a move because you didn't understand the directions.
Mhm.
And then I know I put you either next to Evelyn or Alex so that
Mhm.
they could translate the directions for you. But ever since I saw that scared look on your face when you were transitioning, I was like, I have to do better. So I tried to like do the sticky notes on the wall and all that stuff. I also did try, actually, first, let me just say, everyone who sees my last name thinks I speak Spanish because it's actually not pronounced Zerati. I just let it fly because that has been how everyone has pronounced my last name. But you know, my last name is like Sarate.
Yeah.
So people think I speak Spanish, and that happens so many times where people will like just automatically start talking to me in Spanish.
Mhm.
But the funny thing is as a Filipino, a lot of so I don't know how to speak Tagalog,
Mhm.
but I understand it fluently. Like if someone comes up to me or I hear people talking shit in Tagalog, I know it.
Yeah.
Like I hear it. But a lot of our language is also Spanish. So I understood some of the things you were all saying, and I tried to like relate in that way. But that's so interesting. Yes, the sticky notes and the books and the flash. I do remember flashcards.
Yeah.
I do remember the flashcard stuff too. So I'm glad that like motivated you a little bit. But you were also a fast learner. Like you learned very fast. Like I think by the end of the year, I thought I wouldn't say like you were like completely fluent like you are now, but I felt like you understood and you were starting to talk back and like participate in conversations, which I think is really good. Do you feel the same way about that? Like how fast you are learning?
Yeah, I've that's one thing. Like I actually noticed that like I do tend to learn fast if I
Hmm.
put like the effort on it and I'm motivated. And also because for some reason languages are easy for me to pick up
Yeah.
to a degree. And oddly enough, I was doing the flashcards and then doing like all this stuff, but like outside of school, I remember like my mom and my grandma would just sit me down and I will have to like watch TV. At first it was like PBS, I think, Wildcats and then like different like kids cartoons. But then I think they got me a computer and then they got me cable and that's when I discovered
Mhm.
Disney Channel.
Yes.
And, and I guess that's what also like influenced me like learning the language, like seeing like all these like actors in Disney Channel like talking to each other.
Yes.
Uh, I guess that was also like a method of me learning.
Yeah, those like definitely TV. And when you watch it over and over and you're trying to understand something, I think that is the best way to learn a language because you hear how people talk. I mean, that's how I felt like I learned writing and um understanding is definitely through TV. Like people often say it's a bad thing, but I think TV it kind of helps with the even like remembering a story or remembering like what happened. I think TV does a really good job with that. I think one of the things I do remember about you, besides like when you were talking about language, you were definitely good at math. Like you were, I remember like math are patterns and things like that, but like math was not a problem for you. Like I felt like every time I remember multiplication, you knew your multiplication times tables. And then when we started doing like fractions and stuff, like you picked up on it really fast in comparison to other people. Like, did you feel like that in terms of math? Or I feel like would you say math is your favorite subject or no?
It was like at some point after I came to college and I did mechanical engineering for like a year, I was just like,
Yes, same.
maybe maybe math might not be my subject. So I
Yeah.
switched to well, I did the poli sci, so I actually found a passion in reading just
Yep.
because uh, novels, and then like for some reason I got pretty interested on like legal documents. So I guess now it's reading before it was math.
Yeah. I could see that. And I also when I was in college and high school, I was forced to be STEM. So like I definitely took the math science track in high school because I was going to be a nurse. So I felt like I needed to do that. But when I got to college, I liked humanities better. I like thinking about the world. I like philosophical stuff, theoretical stuff, which I think is why I taught ELA when I got to you. That was not There were people who were surprised I taught English language arts in when I did my teaching career. People thought I was going to teach science, which I think is actually really funny. So, okay, so that is definitely first impressions. Do you have anything to add about first impressions?
Um, First impressions. Well, I was pretty, I guess like when it came to like friends, I was
Mhm.
also surprised. Just because a lot of the kids were also, I guess it was like Spanglish.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
it was funny for me. It was just like, oh, like you speak Spanish, but then you talk to me in English and then
Mhm.
Spanish. So it was just like, oh, like I
That was
guess,
yeah, that was definitely your class. And I think I don't know, I felt like that helped you over the years too, because you had to have conversations with them in class, definitely at lunchtime. And I know those different friend groups, I know they not that they shifted over time, but like you got the opportunity to have conversation with them as well. And I felt like you got along with everyone. Like
yeah,
I don't think of you as someone who was like isolated. I felt like you were able to talk to everybody. Kind of like Carlos. I told Carlos in his conversation that I felt like he was like talking to everybody and I felt like you were the same.
yeah. No, I mean, actually, Carlos, I remember I got along with him pretty well.
Yeah.
I actually visited him a couple times. I think we were also like roommates on our trips, at least for
Mm,
I believe.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I got along with like a lot of people, and then there's like some people that like were also teaching me. I
Yeah.
remember Michael
Oh, yes. I remember him. Yep.
helped me out a little bit with the language as well, and then Hector was also a pretty great help,
Yeah.
especially during projects when we had like to do a writing assessment.
Yeah.
He will help like oversee my documents or like if I needed to like translate a word, he would just tell me like, oh, this is this word.
Right. I mean, your class was pretty I say it in I guess people are tired of me saying this, but your class was really special. Like I felt like all of you got along in different ways. Of course, there's drama, it's middle school. But I think overall, like people were willing to help each other, and I think you guys formed a pretty good friend group. Now, obviously, that is a dot in life. Um, I told this like it's so funny because I talked to most of you. A lot of people will send me updates and stuff, and it's funny because like I remember saying middle school is just a dot. Like you don't remember it now. Not that you don't remember it now, but like life moves on and you're like adults now and all the stuff that happened in middle school don't matter. So, I think that's really key and important to know too. Do you want to talk a little bit about what are some moments in middle school that stood out to you? I have one for you just to see if you remember it.
Mhm.
Because I think about this over your development over time, but do you want to talk about a couple of middle school moments that stood out to you?
Um, I guess the first one that I remember the most, so obviously was like my first year learning, being there, making friendships, and then also like being mentor and then taught the language.
Hmm.
But also another part were like my two trips,
Yeah.
my first two trips in America, actually.
Hmm.
Uh, which one? The first one was to DC. When we went up to DC, we toured the Capitol. We
Yep.
went to a few museums, and then we had like the final, like at the end of like the tour, I think we also had like a dance,
Yes.
uh, and a dinner. But the DC trip was really special for me just because it kind of woke that, I guess, like dream in me of like seeing
Mm,
myself working at some point in a suit, probably in politics
yep.
or law.
Yeah.
Um, and I kind of saw myself like that for a little bit. I kind of turned it down a bit, and then I was just like, oh, I'll probably do STEM.
Yeah.
Uh, After like going backwards, I still see like myself like, oh, I could probably like down the line see myself working over there, like either for the House, Senate,
Yeah.
or
Right.
somewhere. So yeah, I mean that trip was a trip that stood out for me. It's just like, oh, it's probably the first block that I used to like set my ladder for what
Mhm.
I want my career to be, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have like a memorable, like, do you remember what site you liked or what was your favorite part of that trip?
Oh, the first is like the bus ride. It was just funny.
I know. You know, it's funny because I feel like you all loved the bus ride. I dreaded the bus ride both times. Also, I've been to DC and I'm from New York. So like those trips to me, I definitely wanted to go with your class, but all I remember is that like, we're on a bus with like almost 40, 50 middle schoolers on a trip. And so like obviously you're trying to keep track of everybody and all of those things. And the bus is funny because everyone's loud until it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
On the bus. And oh my gosh, maybe this is not a memory for you. Remember when we would stop and we have to like change into like sleep time clothes, and so we had to stop at a rest stop,
Mhm.
and then everyone's running to the bathrooms because they need to get a stall. I'm
Yeah.
and a tip for anybody who does these trips. I go to the family restroom and so that I have that all by myself. So I went into the family restroom, did my stuff, but the rest of you had to go to the main bathrooms and stuff. But like that was a nightmare. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, I do road trips a lot. And me and my brother, when we drive to Chicago or we'll drive to DC, we'll stop by rest stops that we stopped at.
Oh.
And I will be like, oh, we were definitely here. I would like have deja vu. I'm like, we were definitely here. I remember we all ran into the to particular like people ran to the particular stalls and stuff. But I thought that was crazy. Um sorry, did you mention what your favorite part of the trip was?
Oh, I
Oh,
was
you
able
said the bus
to
rides. You said the bus rides.
bus ride and then the Capitol Hill, I guess.
Mm,
Just because I mean it was funny to me that we went to the Capitol Hill and
yeah.
now I know that it's interns that actually give you the tour.
Yes.
It's just I learned that because I applied for the Capitol and then they were like, oh yeah, as an intern you have to give a tour to like people.
Yeah, when they like give the tours around the building. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do remember the tour. That intern did not like us at all. I remember she was just like, oh, like, yeah, like you have to be this age and this blah blah blah, and then like, oh yeah, like just walk around, like see the area, and then she was
Right.
done. I was just like, oh, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's long days too. So like I don't pick up on all of those things because I just wanted to make sure we all got in there and get out. And I'm sure everybody else who was on that trip with me felt the same way. And as long as you have fun, I definitely have photos of all of us like when we were like taking pictures in front of the monuments and the fountains and all of those things. What about New York?
ooh, that
Tell me
was
Yeah, tell me about New York. Because like DC I thought was pretty like um I liked DC as it was for me as a teacher, it was easier to navigate you around. I was stressed with New York. And I went with your class and I went with Albert's class too. And I was really stressed with New York because I I live here. And so for me, taking you all on the subway was very stressful. And then like New York City is so crowded. It's like really crazy. And so like having my eyes on everybody was super stressful. But like what were some key takeaways from you in New York?
there was a lot of things in New York that I remember. I do remember we went to like different parts of it. Like I mean, we pretty much did the whole tour in like 2 days, I
Yeah,
believe.
it was
Or
like 2 or 3
3.
days. It was like 3 to 4 days. Yeah.
And I guess mostly that was because our tour guide was like pretty fast paced. I remember he lost his phone too.
Yes. I remember that too.
But
He
yeah, he
lost
was
his phone. He was definitely fast. Like he wanted to get through those different things. I don't remember. if your class went to the Statue of Liberty. Did we?
Yes, we did. I think I have a few pictures actually of the statue.
Okay. Did we go on to the Statue of Liberty or did we just take a boat around it?
We just took a boat. Like we didn't go in because
Okay.
it's a long line, and they told us it was gonna be like a 2 hour wait.
Right. Okay, yeah, because I went on the island with Albert. I remember I have pictures of his class on the Statue of Liberty, but I don't have pictures. Yeah, I don't have pictures of your class on the Statue of Liberty. So that's why I was curious. I think we were on the boat for that.
Yes, we were on the boat, and then I think I was sick for like a day after too.
Oh yeah, I think because the boat ride and I think we also had temperature changes
Yeah.
when we were there for sure. Do you have any like was there any specific spot in New York that you loved the most?
The Chinatown.
Okay.
That trip. I
I
don't
feel like I know what you're talking about, but you can keep going.
no, no, no. It was just the smells, the seeing like everything there. That's actually where I bought my first hot dog too. I think it was like
Oh yeah, yeah,
$5.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Were you in my group? You probably were in my group. Because
I
Dave,
was in the group, and then I got, but I didn't get like, it was like that situation that
yes,
happened.
I know which situation you're talking about because it's in Tovar's episode. Me and Tovar talked about it in his episode. I know it's the one where someone bought a weed crusher and put it in a bag and all that stuff. Chinatown was really hard for me because I knew what Chinatown is like. And so it's funny because I think I let y'all go. That's where I said like, okay, everybody, you gotta stay within this, but you have to be here at this time. Um, at a certain time. Everybody came on time, but I'm not dumb. Like I'm from New York. So like when I saw the bag, I was like, and then it became a whole situation. But that is so funny you remember that one. But you like Chinatown. Where did you eat in Chinatown, or did you just get a hot dog?
I got a hot dog, and then I got some street food. I did not ask what type of meat it was.
Yeah,
It was like,
yeah, yeah.
it's good. Let me just have it.
Yeah.
So I had a hot dog and then like a stick with like beef on it. It
Yeah.
was pretty good.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
Oh, it's funny because the year after Albert, because of what happened with your class,
mm,
Albert's class, when I took them to Chinatown, I told them that I was going to be around them. So
mm,
I was like, you can go to wherever restaurant you want, but I'm going to just be in the vicinity because of
mm,
what happened with your class. But what's funny is I'm glad that you actually tried the cuisine. Albert's class went to McDonald's. Like
oh,
they just went to McDonald's in Chinatown, and I was just like, okay. Which I thought was really funny. I think a lot of people liked Chinatown for sure. Like
mm.
Chinatown was definitely everyone's favorite. Um, trying to think what else. Did we do World Trade Center? The
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
We actually did a tour, and then we went on the basement where they
oh
still have
yes, the
basic takeout.
museum. Yep, the museum. Yep. I also liked that part. The museum, I went twice with the eighth graders, and that's my favorite one of my favorite parts is like to check out the museum. If you had to pick DC or New York, which one was your more favorite trip?
I guess in the sense of if we're talking about clean, well, I think Chicago is a little cleaner than both, but that's
Accurate,
just my
accurate.
opinion. Uh,
I've lived in all three.
mm,
Chicago to me, although I will say DC's subway is pretty clean.
yeah.
New York is trash. No offense to New York. Love you. I live here. All that. But Chicago, DC subway system to me just
Mm.
cleaner, more understandable. But if you had to pick which one was your favorite trip, which one was your favorite trip?
In sense of like favorite DC, in sense of like which one I would prefer, it will be New York, just because of the
Mm,
cultures and
yeah.
everybody around me. Because I do remember we actually stopped by the Wall Street area,
Oh, yes.
and I saw a bunch of like people from different parts of the world there. And I
Yeah.
actually got like I think I got $10 from somebody there.
I'm sure someone did give you $10.
That
That
was
I'm not
funny.
surprised. That makes sense. That area, the financial district, definitely people all over the world, tourists and everything are always there. So yeah, if I got to pick, I I loved doing both trips. They because they were special for different reasons. Seventh grade was the first long trip we went. Eighth grade, I just enjoy taking you guys to New York because I'm from there, and so it just felt really special. That you were all in my hometown. Um, DC was easier. DC was definitely easier. New York, I felt like there were so many eyes you
Mm.
had to pay attention to. So if I got to do it over, I would DC definitely. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know a couple of other people mentioned the trips as well. Oh, did you pull all-nighters? Uh,
During college,
no,
yes.
during the trips. Like
Oh,
when you
during the
guys are in
trip.
the hotel rooms.
I think we did pull one all-nighter, and that I think that was DC.
Yeah. Who was your roommate? Is it Carlos?
Yes.
And then was it Damien too?
Yes, it was Damien, Carlos, and there's somebody else. I'm not so
Junior? Probably Sergio.
Mm, I don't think I was with Sergio that time.
Oh, maybe not, because Sergio might have had Eduardo, because they
Yeah.
usually put those two together. Oh, okay. Maybe no, not Lewis, because I know Lewis was with Tovar. All these names are people who listen to the podcast, so I'm sure they'll be fine. Um, I remember people pulling all-nighters because there was one day, maybe it was the day when we returned back to
Yeah.
Chicago, all of you were knocked out. Like because everyone pulled an all-nighter or something. And it's funny because I remember someone, I don't know if it was you or Carlos or Tovar, but someone mentioned looking at the sunrise. Like from the hotel room, like you guys opened the
Yeah.
windows and then just stayed up and watched the sunrise. And all I remember is everybody was talking about how like they built really good bonds and got deep with each other in terms of like life. And I was like, do
Yeah.
you? I mean, that's the point of all those trips. So yeah, I gotta figure out who that fourth person was. I'm thinking Junior, but maybe not.
I'm not so sure because I was with, I think, I'm not so sure if it was New York, but I think I ended up with someone named Alex one time.
Oh, Sanchez.
Oh,
Yeah, probably. New York, yes. You might have had Alex, the other Alex, tall Alex, in DC. I could see
no.
that. I could see that where it's you, Carlos.
Oh,
Uh,
wait. No, it was the cousin of Cynthia.
oh, Angel.
Yeah, because I remember he liked my sunglasses that I took.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, well, that's good that all of you enjoyed the hotel room. Everybody enjoyed the hotel room. I'm sure you loved the dance too. Uh,
Yeah, that was
everybody loved the dance, both seventh and eighth grade, with all the other schools
yeah.
that came. Before we move on to high school, tell me a little bit about some lessons you learned in middle school. About maybe share a couple stories about lessons that you learned in your time in middle school.
Yeah, so I think I wrote a little bit of like two lessons that were like I still look up to. It was like the first one was just hard work. I learned in
Mhm.
middle school that if you put hard work, you always get like the results that you wish,
Right.
essentially. And that was just like learning the language, completing my assignments, and then also like staying after school. And I feel like the one that like paved it like for me, like the path of like knowing the hard work pays off was when we did the 5K run.
My God. Yes, I remember that.
That one, that one was like the one that like taught me like, okay, like if I put in like effort, time, and like continue to persevere through it, I can like accomplish it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That was because we practiced for a few months, actually.
We did practice for human, so I would love to give context to this. So, when you were in eighth grade, I know my goal was to get healthier before you graduated, and so those of you who came to after school, we like brainstormed it. But you and Damien in particular came after school, and we ran the hallways. We would run up and down the hallways, and I have like a tracker that shows like how many miles. we would run in the hallway. And then sometimes I think we ran in the cafeteria too, where we
Yeah.
would run around. Um, but that's so funny because like I remember doing the running with y'all for sure. My running was definitely not good, but when we did the actual 5K in downtown Chicago, I think it was the Color Run, um, you went ahead of us. You
Yes.
went ahead of us because me and Damien for sure were right in the back. We were very slow. And so I thought that was really, that is definitely a memory I have too, like just like the after school running. And you definitely crushed the 5K. For sure. I never ran again. Just kidding. Um, that was really good for me though, because like I felt like I was getting healthier because of that too. And we were like working as a team to like, okay, let's run on this day and this day. I remember that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about the after school stuff? Because I know you did homework. We did homework too, and we did all of those things, but I know particularly in your eighth grade year, we were like definitely practicing running.
Yeah. We practiced running, and then I remember we were actually also practicing languages.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Duolingo competition. Well, I still
yeah.
have the Duolingo app where it says like Damien, it's like
Yeah,
an
yeah,
acronym
yeah, yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
But we were like all learning like a different language. I think I was learning Mandarin, if
Yep,
I'm not mistaken, and then Damien was learning like French, and you
yep.
were learning Spanish.
Spanish. Yep, I was definitely trying to do Spanish. It's funny because I've used Rosetta Stone for Spanish. I've taken Spanish classes in college, and even though I'm Filipino and have the some context to that Spanish, I still struggle to put words together. Like the vocabulary and the words and all that stuff. Like learning the languages was definitely, it's still hard for me to learn languages. My brother knows Spanish better than me, for sure. Like my brother can formulate sentences and stuff. So I tried. What's your second lesson?
My second lesson, well, I'm gonna combine it with just friendships. I guess
Yeah.
that's something I learned in middle school.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess I'll cover part of that in high school when
Mm,
I discuss it. I feel like I learned that friendships are valuable, especially because I think we were all crying. One at the dance we had in eighth grade, but also the second was when we graduated
yeah.
because it was like, oh, we've like been one of the founders of this school. We've
Yep.
known each other for the past 3 years. It's just like, oh, like all the emotions are piling up. And I learned to like value friendships essentially and knowing that I'm always gonna meet people that are gonna be there
Mm,
essentially to help me, but I'm also gonna be able to help them along the way. So friendship is like a lesson that I learned in middle school. And then also the getting to the table. I still remember
mm,
that sign that was on the back of the classroom, and there
yep.
was different pictures of presidents. I do remember there was Obama in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken, was
Yeah,
also
yeah,
in
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
And yeah, that's a lesson that I still keep like with me.
Yep.
For me, it's the acronym of like, well, it's get to the table essentially like getting to a position in which my voice will be heard,
Yeah.
is why I decided to pursue the poli-sci
Yep.
degree. And I actually worked with a few NGOs, like internships, I guess,
Yep.
throughout my college years. And then I did a little bit of like government work as well, in which I had the opportunity to speak with some people in power, essentially, and tell them like my opinion on some of the
Mhm.
bills they were passing, and essentially I got to express and then also voice out my voice like that had like also voice out the voice of others as well that had
Right.
similar opinions.
Yeah, I think one of the things I think about um with you is, and even so I got to write you a letter of recommendation and you sent me like some of the things that you did. I was very impressed with the work that you do in campaigns. Like you were definitely part of the canvassing. Like those are hard. Like to like actually go out and canvass and like be a part of people's campaigns, phone banking, and all those things. Like I was really impressed how you were like civically engaged, and then also, so it makes sense to me like the having your voice be heard. and getting to the table is important. That was a phrase that I often use. Like you want to get to the table because if you're not at the table, your voice is not going to be heard. And so we definitely had that motto throughout. And also just to think about your journey, like you were very quiet in the beginning. And also, like, I know part of it was language, but like to see you grow over time. I mean, throughout middle school, for sure, you were like participating more. And then now seeing you as an adult and being a part of different nonprofits and being a part of things that are civic engagement is, I think, it's great to see that journey unfold for you. And so I'm glad that you thought of get to the table. Everyone has different memories of like what are the mottos and things, and get to the table, I think hasn't come up yet, but like, I know what you're talking about. There's a table in the back, and I put all the leaders, particularly leaders of color, in the back to like just showcase like how we should stand up for ourselves and use our voice, which I think is really cool. Um, so after middle school, and I resonate with all the crying, um, the dance, I remember it, and then graduation as well. You go to high school, and actually, you go to a military
Yes.
academy high school too. I remember this. Okay, tell us a little bit about your experience in high school, and then you can talk a little bit about some of the lessons you learned in high school.
Yeah, so in high school, well, my first day I was a little nervous. There were some people actually from middle school that were there.
Yep.
Two of them. I actually like talked to both of them, and then we kind of split a little bit
Yeah.
after like our first year. But I remember we made like a group, and then
Wait,
uh,
who's the third person? I know Tovar is one because he
uh,
talked about it. Who's the third one?
Isabel.
Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. Yep. I remember.
So yeah, me and Tover actually got along the like pretty well. Actually, we did talk all 4 years every now
Yeah.
and then.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got like split just because we had different classes
Right. Mhm.
after like our first year.
Yeah.
But I remember we made a group, me and him, and then that group was like 40 people.
Oh,
Obviously,
wow.
after the first year, it split into smaller groups of like
Yes, of
three
course.
friends or four
Yeah.
friends.
Freshman year is always a crazy year and you're trying to know people and it's a new environment. So it's definitely different. Yeah.
Yeah, and essentially it was pretty good. In a sense, it was good. We all got different, like involved in different stuff. I got involved in like a lot of like debate. Like I got into debate club.
Oh, nice. I could
I
see
did,
that for you. Yeah.
I did debate club, and then I was doing drill. I did it for a little bit.
Hmm.
Then what else was I doing? I got involved in like a lot of things that were correlated to like analytical, I guess. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of times. Like after freshman year, like my schedule was pretty bad. Like I kind of regret like some of the stuff I was doing like after freshman, like in the sense of classes after
Yep.
freshman year. Uh, but I do remember it was pretty fun. First year, met a lot of people. I lost weight my freshman year, like a lot of weight.
Yeah, because you're definitely doing you do a lot of like physical activity, right?
Not really.
Okay.
You expect to like I expected them to be like extremely disciplined, like oh like I will like shape you like be strict, disciplined, get in shape, but no, it's pretty much just like how I don't really know the name of those, but there's like like it's like the people that go and sell cookies, but it's like for kids.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember. Is
Yeah.
it Girl Scouts?
Yeah, but it's for boys, Boy
Oh, Boy
Scouts.
Scouts.
I
Okay.
felt
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
was in a Boy Scouts type of school. Like I got the uniform, but I just
yeah.
didn't get any discipline.
Right.
But I mean, we did get discipline every now and then. Like, oh, like if we got in trouble, like the whole battalion will do push-ups, and then they'll just have us do either like a squat position, and then
Right.
after a few minutes, you'll be like, oh, I'm sore.
Yeah, Tovar talked about that too, where he was like, it wasn't as bad as people thought it was going to be. And there were moments where there was discipline, but like it wasn't as bad as he thought it was
Yeah,
going to be.
that's pretty fun, I will say. I mean, for me, it was pretty good 4 years. I got promoted. at first I didn't want to get promoted. I was just like, ah, I'll just wing by, be like a normal cadet. But then, oddly enough, I got the liking of a few sergeants, and then like my commanders, like were like, ah, we'll promote you. Like, I
Yeah,
think it's like my second semester, like it was like a whole year, but
yeah,
like the second half of the first year, they were like, oh, like your staff sergeant got fired, so like you're now in charge. So I was in
yeah,
charge of like taking care of like four other kids.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, I gotta check your uniform now. So I was just like, I'll do that. And then they promoted me to that position. Sophomore year, like we will have like another person of higher ups
yeah,
that will like be absent, and they'll be like, oh, you seem like a person that follows rules. We'll make you a first lieutenant.
yeah,
I was just like, oh, like now I'm in charge of like 30 people. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And then subsequently they promoted me all the way to like I made it to the battalion like staff.
yeah,
So the battalion staff was composed of like four major ranks, and then you get your, I guess, lieutenant colonel, which was like the general, I guess. So I was part of that staff. So essentially I had, if that lieutenant colonel was absent, or like the higher ups was absent, I'll be in charge of every platoon and like
okay, yeah,
command.
yeah, yeah,
So that gives me access to like 600 cadets under my command,
yeah,
technically.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I guess that was the experience. It was just like funny to me that, okay, like I didn't want to get promoted, but I ended up being like a captain at the end. So it was,
oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think based on what Tovar said in his episode, I felt like it was a good experience for both of you. Like both of you had like unique experiences and then like it kind of built you up a little bit. I know you said that you wanted to talk a little bit about like friends, right? Like what was the lesson you learned about friendships in high school?
oh yeah. So in high school, the first year, mm, I'm not so sure. Well, I remember like we were sitting in a class, a sergeant came up to us. It was like towards like the beginning, and he was just like, look left, look right. They're your friends, but once you're out for like college applications or anything in life, they're competition. They're not your friends.
Mm.
Which was like, oh, like, really? Like,
I could see. I don't like the way that's put. You
yeah,
know, like, and I will say, and we can talk about this too, is like in America, unfortunately, they want us to compete against each other. Like it's a like it's like instead of like working collectively,
yeah.
right? Like working with each other. And so that's interesting. You can keep going. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
But yeah, I was just like, I was shocked at first. I was just like, oh, like, I guess that's like a good introduction. But then I was just like, I became friends with people. But
Hmm.
then I actually got to see like what he meant.
Yeah,
Um, in the sense that like I took regular classes, and then I took one AP class, right?
right.
I passed the AP class, and then I did pretty good. So second year comes around. They don't, at this point, at least for my small group, it was a group of 12 students that stuck with me like for the next 4 years.
Mm,
The 12 of us were like the highest performance in like testings and APs.
yeah.
So they didn't give us options to choose our schedules. They made it for us. So they
Mm,
will place all of our schedules with honors or AP classes, and they
yeah.
will seclude us separately.
Mm,
So after that year, me and these 12 other kids, we just got separated from the rest of the whole class
yeah.
because our GPAs were high. So they
Yeah.
were just like, oh, you'll just take all APs.
Right, right,
I
right.
was just taking all APs my junior and senior year.
Yeah.
No like regular classes, no nothing.
Yeah, that's really, yeah, that's a tough schedule. Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, but it was just like 12 of us after freshman year. I remember freshman year, I took a chemistry class, and then I think I was taking geometry.
Yep.
And then after that, I just kicked up.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
like, you're smart. Like, you go here. And then
Right.
we got like some privileges over that too.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, like, you're smart. Like, you can go to this trip. Like, they did like a Hamilton concert.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
for
Yeah.
the rest of the students, it was like based off like class and then like performance. For us, it was like a guarantee you have a seat.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like, oh yeah, like you got a guarantee seat for it. And
Yeah.
then we took a STEM class. I think it was Bayesa. For that one, I actually like argued just to get in that class.
Yeah.
Because it was just a regular class. It was not like a um, AP course or like an
Right.
honors course. So I had to argue my way into like being able to take that course.
Do you remember what the course was?
Uh, it was related to civil engineering. I don't
Okay.
know for
Okay.
sure because we were
Yeah.
using,
Okay.
yeah,
And they wouldn't let you take it at first because it wasn't an AP or honors class.
yeah. So they were just like, oh yeah, like that's an easy class.
That's so interesting. When I was in high school, we were definitely put on tracks in terms of like honors, AP, and all that stuff. We had choices, but like I wish if I could go back, I always talk about like I wish I took more art classes. Like I wish I did visual arts. I wish I did art studio because I chose science classes because I thought I was gonna go be in nursing or whatever. But that's so interesting. I To hear that experience, I'm not surprised by it, first of all, because there's a lot of schools that tend to track kids. They'll
Mhm.
put kids based on their GPAs and tracks, and you don't have a choice. You're just on this track, and
Mhm.
people have different experiences. And so it's interesting to hear that from your perspective as well. Like they talk about competition, and then it became a competition.
Yeah, so afterwards it actually became a competition because they were like, oh, like this and this. And then I remember we actually had like pizza parties too. But it
Mm,
was for only those 12 students. So I was
yeah,
like, oh, like I will come out of class and then talk to a normal like other student.
yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, like what do you guys do? They're like, we had a boring day and then there's this. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
had
I
like a
see.
pizza
Yeah,
party.
it's like it's so. It sounds like they're not only did they track you, they like treated you all differently based on GPAs, which is like not okay in the sense of like everyone should be able to experience different things. But that's not you were a student. You just got to be a part of those different things. I know you mentioned too, like um the best way to see the world. You didn't like the competition because the best way to see the world is to be more humane and look out for each other. Do you want to talk a
Yes.
little bit about that?
Yes. So for me, like after, well, when I did like school, essentially like I got to see like how people got treated and then also like traveling over the past few years. Uh, I got to see that there's like we treat each other so differently, but it's just like we're all people.
Mm,
So I don't feel like there should be like a difference in the sense of treatment, and we should all have like the same opportunity. And I feel like if everybody like saw each other like as humans, there wouldn't be that many issues. Like, yes, it's okay to have like competition,
yeah.
obviously.
Hmm.
It's not to the point of like, oh, like I want to get there, so I'll just take you down.
Yeah.
Like, and that's also another thing I saw like when I was doing like college. Like, I wanted to go into finance, and then like I kind of got to see like how like the Ivy sector works, the investment
Hmm.
banking.
Hmm.
I saw the way they work. I was just like, oh, this is also like a competition based.
Yeah.
No, like I saw like I heard stories on it that they do it based off books. So like based
Yeah.
on your clients, if you get sick one day and you miss out on like going to work, somebody's already taking your book and your clients.
Yep. I've heard that too. I've heard that a lot in business school. Like there's a lot of competition that happens in there. And also like pre-law, law classes, pre-med, all those classes, it was a competition. It's like you have to like be ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And I would say America does that. I mean, the education system does that. I mean, I kind of fell to it when I was a teacher too, because we had honor roll. Like we had A, B honor roll, A honor roll, and only those people got to be recognized for their things, but there's so many things that we could recognize people for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just, I feel like in America, we love competition. Um, and it becomes a dog eat dog. I mean, we're seeing it now in our world is like people are competing, but if we just like figure out a way where we can all see each other as human and like really collectively work with each other, I think it would have a different outcome. But I feel like even though everything feels like shit right now, I do feel like we're moving in that direction slowly.
Yeah.
Like I think I can see examples and I can see examples, I can see different people I in communities in my life that are starting to understand about mutual aid and collectiveness and collaboration and all of those things. Um, so yeah, I think those things are important, especially to move forward. Um, I know we're going to talk a little bit about your present, but you just graduated. I got to see you graduate, which was really exciting. To see you walk across the stage and know like how much you've been through in your story and all of those things. Do you want to talk a little bit about college experience and what you loved about it? What are some of the hard things about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about your like your college experience.
Yeah, so college, I guess, for me, it was in a sense, it was fun towards the end. I guess my
Mhm.
last semester,
Yeah,
junior year too. Actually, junior year was my most fun that I had, oddly enough. I
yeah,
think most people say that junior year is like the worst, but for me, it was like,
hmm,
oh, like I get to have fun. And that's
yeah,
because of the friends I made.
yeah,
Um, so freshman year, I went in, knew nobody, as normal stuff.
right.
First day I got there, I saw that well, I didn't have a roommate, so I got lucky on that one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you got to have your own room. Yeah.
I got my own
Actually
room.
remember that. You did tell me that. I remember.
Yeah, but there was no AC in that place. So
Mm,
I suffered through the worst summer. It was like sometimes it was 102 degrees like outside.
yeah,
Inside it will feel like 200.
yeah.
And the thing is, I was also at the top of the building. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
way
The higher you go, it's hotter. Yep, you're
the
right.
hotter it gets, so I was just like, oh, this is bad. But I do remember first day I got there, knew nobody. My parents left. They dropped me off. They left, and I walk out and I'm like talking to this like I think it's like a RA.
Yep.
I asked them like, "Hey, where can I get food?" And they were like, "Oh, this place like this building has the food underneath in the basement, but they only open like once or twice a month. So
Mm.
you have to go to other buildings and see what they have." So I decided to walk to the furthest building of campus. And there I met like my first friend that I made and I still talk to.
Yeah.
It's like this guy that's from India. And I'm like, oh, hey, like I'm new here. And he's like, oh, I'm also new here. That's like my first friend that I made. And then we started like talking, we bonded, and then he was like, I guess my roommate for the first semester,
Right.
just because we got like we hanged out every single day. Essentially he didn't like his roommate, so he
Mm.
he just like decided to go out every single day. So I'll just stick with him or like,
Yeah.
oh, like let's go. Because I think he was also aerospace and I was a mechie. So some classes collided with each other. So
Yeah.
started like working on that too. But then I dropped my degree. And then oddly enough, he switched to my degree on the year. But that's how I made my first friend. Then we met another friend, which he proceeded to become his roommate on the second semester. And then I started meeting more people, essentially a lot of international people, people
Right.
from China, Hong
Yeah.
Kong,
Hmm.
uh, various parts of the world. And I started learning about their cultures, hanging out. And I guess freshman year, I kind of struggled. And then sophomore year, that's when I got my first apartment with the three people. Uh, Made more friends. That's when I struggled the most, just because I had like a lot of things going on.
Yep.
Essentially, one, I didn't know what degree I wanted to pursue at that point.
Yeah.
I was stuck between, so my school actually, they have a rule. You're only able to transfer into business school the first semester you're in.
Oh, wow.
So I had to like grind pretty bad just because my GPA was not the best,
Hmm.
especially because I was doing Mechie.
Yeah.
So that GPA was slow, and they were like, "Oh, you need a 3 point something to get in." I was just
Mm.
like, as an engineer, it's impossible for me to take like that type of
Right, right,
GPA
right.
my first semester. So I didn't get into business school at first, and then I managed to get into it my second semester
Yeah.
with the economics degree.
Mm.
Then they told me, okay, like this is your business classes. I took a few business classes and I was just like, this is not for me at all.
Mm.
I understand business and like the concepts. It's just that I didn't like the way they wanted me to like work it.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yep.
So I was just like, okay, I'm good with the math. I just don't like the people in the business sector.
Hmm.
So then I just proceeded to stay with the economics, but the economics department was also like, it was kind of like funny in a way, just because a lot of them were like, oh, we're trying to be economists, but like
Right,
most of them, most of the people that like graduated, they were still going into the investment banking sector. It's just like, okay.
right.
So then I found political science, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. And then I stumbled across the law building, and they told me, "Do you want to get a pre-law like certificate as well?" So I was just like, sounds interesting.
Yeah,
So they designated me as a pre-law student with political science, and
right.
then I decided to throw in a minor in public relations.
Yep. Yep.
So I did that for the last 3 years, which I mean the last 2 years essentially, my junior year and senior year. But I guess I learned the most those 2 years as well, just because in the law side I focus on international relations. So I got to hang out with a few people that were like exchange students.
Right.
Um, I befriended a person from South Korea and from France, and also a guy from Cairo, I think from Egypt.
Mm.
And junior year was essentially that year that I met them all. Essentially, it was my party year.
Yeah.
Party year of college, just because I was going out so often. Because I was like, oh, let me take you like to this place. I heard there's gonna be this
Yeah.
event down here.
I'm not gonna lie, I was very happy you were doing that junior year because I remember in your freshman year when you would give me updates, you would talk about how you would never go out.
Yeah.
You were like, I would always just stay in my dorm. And I was like, no, go out, be social, meet people. So I'm glad I actually did see when you got to your junior, senior year, you were starting to like be more social. And I was like, okay, great. That makes me happy. So I'm glad that you got to experience that side as well.
Yeah. So partying. Oh, and then I did a lot of traveling in state, but that was because I was doing business conferences.
Right.
I I did not add that to my resume, but I did do an I guess internship. It was like a contract, but I did it with Citadel.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Okay.
they were paying for my flights to go to like Nashville, Seattle,
Yeah.
DC. I ended up going to San Diego too, but that was that was a conference that I went to at another organization.
Yeah.
And I did all of those my junior year, which was insane because I was traveling, working, doing internships, and also like partying.
Right.
And on top of that, I was also studying too, which was a little hectic because I'll be like on the plane and I'll take like a big law textbook with me.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean,
Eating on the plane.
right, 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 right. Just like a lot of, I mean, that's part of balance. That's life balance there. Like doing all of those things because I think those things are important. Yeah. But yeah, I was just really excited to see you at graduation and like get through all of that. Um, because I know that college was also a little bit rough in many different parts too. And so I think like to see you cross the finish line finally, I think was just like an exciting moment for me to witness on my screen. But now, as we're moving into present, so what are you doing now? What are you passionate about?
Well, as of right now, came back from vacationing,
Yeah,
visited my siblings, my mom in Mexico,
yeah,
had fun, ate a
yeah,
lot. Well, I didn't party actually. I actually ended up like doing work, I guess.
yeah,
And then, well, I'm currently job hunting, so I'm applying to different jobs. I had a few jobs, didn't like the offers.
yeah.
For one of them, I just didn't like the place I went to, like the campus of the company.
Listen, I here's what I appreciate about that is that you, I mean, people will tell you just grab the first job offer, but I love how you're like thinking about how you would feel in the job offer. And I know in generations and like past people will say like, no, take the job, take the job. I like how you're thinking. I didn't do that. in my career. I just kind of like went with whatever the first choice. I did love my Chicago choice. There were some decisions I made after I left Chicago that I wish I didn't make, but I made those decisions because I was desperate for a job. And actually, you're reminding me now not to be desperate for a job. There's privilege in that too. Like I get it. Like, not everyone can do that, but like I love how you think about like the wholeness of your of who you are before
Mhm.
picking a job because like I know we talked about this earlier, but you picked there was a job offer in a city that was not necessarily your
Yeah.
first choice, and that matters. Safety matters, all those things matter, and I'm glad you thought about that. Keep applying, you'll get one. Like you have to be really um persistent. And sometimes you just have to apply to a lot of places, you'll get interviews, and all of those things. Anything else you want to mention about what you're doing now or what you're passionate about?
Oh yeah. So I have been working on like startups.
Mhm.
I did mention I did not like the financial, like working a 9 to 5, I guess, in the financial sector is not my first like choice or liking.
Right.
But I do want to do like a startup, and it is actually related to finance.
Yeah.
But for me, this idea that I have is actually, in a way, it's to help one the consumer and two the employee.
Mm.
Because I did go to Europe last year in the summer,
Yep, I remember that.
and I managed to see the work environment. The work-life balance is amazing over there. So those are concepts that I want to implement. If the startup were to be successful, I want to implement those concepts on this company.
I know that's right. Yes, you have to. I'm sure, I'm so glad you mentioned that. I have another friend of mine who she moved out of the country and she went to Spain and she just talks about the balance. Like they have lunch, they like take full hour and a half lunches. Like people aren't working at that time. I think they call it merienda.
Yeah.
Um, and she was saying how like people don't work until 6, 7 p.m. Like I'm in America, everyone is working all the damn time. And it's crazy. Like I feel that way. So I love how you're trying to bring that balance here. That's very equitable. I love it. What else? Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no. So yeah, I'm trying to bring like those, like the work-life balance, the benefits. Like, I learned that for pregnancy over there, they give like sometimes some like in France at least they give you like a 1 year pay, which I feel like companies should be able to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
maternity leave. America is crazy. I can't even. Okay. Love it. Okay, keep going.
but yeah, I mean that's one of the concepts. Obviously, like it's kind of correlated to the banking sector, but not necessarily. I'm planning on doing like a peer-to-peer like loaning system. Main difference is that my plan is putting a cap, so
Mm,
interest caps on them. Uh, I don't want to be because I've taken a few loans and I've seen my interest is like 11 or 12.
same, 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 same. Same, same, same. You're right. You're right.
So the company I want to make is gonna be focused on that, and I do have a cap of 5 or 7% at the highest.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I love these ideas where you definitely do your startup and obviously like get yourself settled because I know we talked before we started recording, like entrepreneurship is hard. It is really hard. I've been on it for now like 2020. I was doing it. Like I had a job. I was teaching and doing entrepreneurship and getting a doctorate at the same time, which is dumb. Don't do that. Or like pursue degrees and do that at the same time. It definitely drained me. But doing a startup, like your own thing, and to keep it consistent has been really hard. But yeah, like I'm excited to see those things grow. Anything else you want to add about your present?
Um, it's just that. Oh, also I want to travel too, so I want to add that. So I want to have like a time probably in December if I have the opportunity again to travel
Yeah.
outside. I did do Europe, but now I also want to do Asia, just
Hmm.
because I want to learn more about cultures and understand. And I also have a friend up in India right now,
Yeah.
so I wanna go and visit him again.
Yeah. That's the best way to do it is like go visit your friends. That is definitely the best way. Awesome. Okay, before we wrap up with like your future, there's the segment where I let you ask me two questions that you have for me that you always wanted to ask me. So you can start with the first one.
Hmm. Okay, so the first one I think I grow is if given the opportunity, would you change anything from your experiences?
Which part of my life? What are you talking about specifically?
I would say after college, like essentially up to now,
Hmm.
there's
Good question. Firstly, no regrets about becoming a teacher. No regrets. I thought it was divine intervention for me to be in Chicago, be particularly your class's teacher, and have that experience. Like, it was definitely, I felt like it was necessary as a part of my life. I have always talked about what I would have done differently if I was in college. I think now I would have done like a arts um an arts degree with a little political science, a little sociology because I love that. I actually love, that I'm very passionate about social justice. I want to understand policy a little bit more, and so I think I would be in that realm. And then I think if I left college, instead of being a teacher, I think I would have tried to do more like organizing, like political organizing, because I love it. Actually, I love reading about political organizing. Like, I'm sure you've heard about Mamdani here in New York City,
the mayor.
the mayor, the Democratic mayor. Just, I love learning about how people organize. AOC is another one. I love the her campaign. My district, we had before before Jamal Bowman we used to have here. Love him. Loved how he organized. So I think that's an area I think I would have done. I don't know if you know this, but like I wasn't supposed to move to Chicago first. I was placed in Baltimore.
Oh,
And I asked them to switch me to New York, and they were like, "We don't have New York, we have Chicago though." And so that's how I ended up in Chicago. That's why I say it's all aligned, and I wouldn't change a thing. But if I got to, I don't regret it. So, but if I got to do it over, I think I would do more political science and arts and like mesh the two together because I'm kind of doing that now in a different sense, but we'll see. Thank you for that first question. What's the second question?
second one will be what advice would you give your younger self?
Yeah, in the first episode, I like did a little letter to myself about like what I would say to my younger self. But I think right now, if because now that I've got to talk to all of you and like think about my younger self, I would tell my younger self to have more fun. Like I think I was really type A student. Like I was always studying, I was always focused on school. Even as an adult, I was very focused on my career. In college, I was I wouldn't say I was very focused. I was gallivanting and having fun. Because I was like releasing all of my perfectionism from middle school and high school. But I would definitely tell myself to have more fun, which I think I definitely told you in college. I was like, you should have more fun, and then you did. So that's good. And as an adult, life is short, you know? Like do all of the things. But that's something I'm trying to tell myself now. Is like life is really short. It goes by really fast. You're gonna learn this really quickly. Like what are you, 21, 22?
22.
Um, yeah, the 20s go by fast. And I was your teacher for most of my 20s. And I would have told myself to have more fun, because I was really focused on my career and that's not okay. But yeah, thank you for both of those questions. Appreciate it. So to wrap up, we're gonna focus on the last part, which is your future. Let's first start with like what are some of the hopes and dreams you have for yourself?
Well, I guess hopes will be having a successful business at some point, the startup. And a dream will be being involved in politics and
Mm,
specifically in the international relations sector, especially because I study that sector the most. Um, and I guess, yeah, like my dream will be like being able to impact the international community
mm,
around the world, essentially. Just because if we are at peace and are more open-minded to it, I feel like we'll, as a world and society, will be more innovative and successful that way.
right.
And I feel like there needs to be a friendly work environment instead of
Right.
having that competition mentality and like once.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, you give global. Like you, I feel like you're a global, like I feel like your future is giving me global. Like you're gonna do things around the world. I love that for you. What are some of your hopes and dreams for your community?
Well, as of right now, I feel like uh, a dream that I have for my community is to continue to work on their dreams, essentially.
Hmm.
Everybody to continue to strive for better and continue to make a positive impact. Essentially, because I feel like with current situations and how things are like going, I feel like we need to make more positive decisions that have like an impact, broader method. Just because America, like essentially the communities I have is mostly in America, and I feel like if my community has like a positive impact that can be demonstrated in the news, it will be picked up around the globe. Just
Yeah,
because America is the center essentially
right,
of leadership. So if we have a good community down here, and essentially we have positive things going and friendly conversations. I feel like the rest of the world will follow on that as well.
right. That's so good. All right. What are your hopes and dreams for the world?
For the world, I hope for it to be stable again.
Yeah.
Uh,
Listen.
I hope that they start working with each other. Essentially, I feel like diplomacy. Obviously, that is one thing I picked up in one of my trips. I actually went down to Argentina with my school, and I met with a few people down there, a few ambassadors. And what I heard was a little devastating because I was told that when the 2021 essentially rallies happened, they said that the diplomacy or democracy in America was gone because of
Mm,
the pictures. So they were like, if that country's gone and their values are gone, then the rest of the world is also gone in a sense.
mm,
So that's what I heard when I was there. And essentially, I feel like that is something that we have to take into account and change essentially. Start talking to each other again and then trying to see if we can have peace and have that progressive mindset again,
yeah.
essentially with the current events.
Right. Oh yeah, 100%. It's been really crazy, I think, especially over the last couple of months too. Like, it's really easy to be pessimistic and really like everything's ending, but I think also like I look at optimism. I look for things that are going that people are trying to change and progress in good ways, and I think a lot of what you're saying is like really important. And it's bad when our country essentially we think everything's amazing over here, and then you go to another country and they're like, oh, you guys. And that's like typical because America is very like, oh, we're the best. And it's just like, I don't know about that. So, yeah, thank you for sharing your hopes and dreams. The last part is I've asked every single person to give themselves advice. I want you to think about fifth grade Francisco. I might get a little emotional because like I can see little Francisco. You had that little hair part with the gel
Yeah.
when you were in fifth grade. Um, yeah, actually it makes me feel really emotional because like I remember you came here no English, and it was hard, but knowing your journey too, what advice would you give little Francisco? What would you want to say? You can say, act like you're talking to yourself and, share what advice would you want to give him? What would you want to say?
Advice I would say is be less serious.
Mm,
Try not to stress as much. and give yourself more time.
Yeah.
And I would say reflect on what you really want to do and how you would do it.
Hmm.
And essentially, yeah, just value your time, put more effort into yourself. Essentially, the last few like months, I guess years also, I haven't really prioritized myself as much.
Mm,
I've been more focused on accomplishing my goals and also doing work,
yeah.
which is like, oh, like I missed out on like making memories in
Mm,
a sense.
mm, I
I
resonate with
kind of came
that.
to that realization recently just because I've seen that like yes, I've traveled, but I took it way too serious in some travels. And I probably should have like connected more with those memories. Uh, I actually started doing that recently
Yeah.
on my travel to Europe. That's where I picked that up the most.
Yeah.
Uh, I learned that memories are more valuable than anything else, I guess.
You're right.
I was
That's really, that's a great reflection. I actually needed to hear that for myself. It's the memories. You're right. And actually, I will say, because, we follow each other on Instagram. So actually, your final few couple weeks where you were posting like your like you going out and having fun, like those are the things that matter. It's the small things. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of us, especially people of color, especially children of immigrants, we have this mindset that we have to work all the time and we have to like be the next level, but it's always the small moments that remember. It's like the memories and all that stuff. So like even when I think about my teaching career, I worked way too hard. I did. I worked way too hard for no reason, and I wish I built more memories in Chicago. Um, a lot of my memories of Chicago are teaching, but a lot of my friends aren't there anymore. They like moved back to the East Coast, but um that is a great reflection. And as you move forward too, like when you're looking for jobs, you know, you're back in Chicago. I'm sure you've experienced Chicago differently over the years. There's so much to explore in Chicago. So, take time, build your own memories, and just do some more exploration. You don't have to have it all figured out. That's what I love to say. You don't have to have it all figured out, but keep doing you. I'm very proud of you. Your story is incredible. Um, all the things that you have done. So thank you so much for being a part of this podcast, sharing your story, um, and really just reflecting. Like this was just, it was great to hear your story. I know we've talked back and forth, but to hear it in like full story is great. And I know that some of the listeners will love hearing it as well. Thank you.
thank you.